for this podcast, I've literally been reviewing all of your podcast conversations you've had, vlogs, all these sort of things. So again, for people who want to check out Orlando, I would recommend the Orlando Raw clips or videos, like full videos that you've got at the moment, which have not gotten the love they deserve, I reckon, on some of the platforms. But something that I picked up on one of the talks that you were giving, it's not who you know, it's who knows you. Which I was like, I remember listening to that and I was like, that's cool. I like that because always if people have heard it, it's you know, it's who you know, but it's kind of like the opposite. Where did you pick up that particular idea from, and help me leverage it around so that everyone understands who is Orlando?
Yeah. So the context of that was training sales guys how to get better roles. And the idea is like, it doesn't matter if you know of the business owner if they don't know you. And so that's where that stemmed from. But that applies to everything. It applies to your business. Like you could be the best personal trainer in the world and you could know all the clients you want to work with. But if they don't know who you are, like it doesn't really matter.
Mm.
So yeah, I guess in the context of me, it's like I know I can help all of these young guys in a position where I was. So it's like it doesn't matter if they don't know who I am. And so hence like all of the content that we're putting out.
Mm. You are a young guy, and we're talking about off air. I kind of thought he was a little bit older, which is interesting. I think that the way that you come across, the way you handle yourself, seems like a more mature individual, but it wasn't always the case. Because when I first sort of connected with you, you were, I think, maybe like in your 20s or 21. I can't remember exactly. And you just gone through a breakup. You had energy, but you've since kind of created a lot of great things, right? You worked at, so I'll summarize with people because you can find this information of Orlando in other places. You worked at McDonald's when you were younger. I wasn't going to be the path. For whatever reason, you went down the path of sales. I believe Jason Capital was the first one that kind of got you into that space. So just prior to that, why the high ticket sales? As in, even before Jason, was it? Did someone talk to you about it? Did someone say, "Hey, that's a good way to make money"? Like, what was the transition from? Yep, I'm working at McDonald's, but this is my next thing.
Yeah, I didn't even know what high ticket sales was.
Mm.
Like, I didn't know what I was signing up for, even with Jason Capital.
Mm.
I was working at McDonald's studying construction management at uni, and COVID hit about 4 weeks in, and I just got a bunch of side hustle ads because I wanted to make some extra cash while I was at home and I had extra time. And so his was one of the ads I got, but I looked into drop shipping, I looked into starting an agency, like I
Mm.
saw him on Guardsy stuff, I saw all the typical stuff. And for whatever reason, I went with Jason Capitals, which was a DM setting course
Mhm.
slash copywriting. It's like a mix of a few different things. But then through that, I then got sold another program, which got me to sell Instagram shout out campaigns.
Yeah.
And so that was the first sales role I had. But I didn't actually know what my role was until like 6 months later.
Mm.
I was talking with my girlfriend's family at the time, and they're like, "So, what do you do for work? Like, how does this work?
Yeah.
You work like 3 hours, 4 hours in the morning, and then you do nothing for the rest of the day. Like,
Mm.
how are you making money?"
Mm.
And I was like, "Oh, I do this, I do that, blah, blah, blah." Went on this big tangent because I didn't know how to explain myself.
Sure.
And they're like, "Wait, so you sell the thing for say $5,000, but then you don't actually do the service and they pay you for that?" And I was like, "Yeah,
Mm.
exactly." And they're like, "Oh, okay, you're in sales."
Mm.
I was like, "Oh, yeah, I guess I'm in
Sales. Yeah.
sales." So I didn't even know until like 6 months in.
It's wild because until I saw a little bit more of your material, and then obviously I'm looking at your material, and then I get more of the high ticket sales ads and things that come up. It's seldom the thing that comes up, at least for me in my like ecosystem, and it screams out to me that either if you've got the gift to the gab or just the right energy, you just need a little bit of skill set to be able to become good at it. You've talked about this before, where you kind of said 60% is almost like the energy, the spirit that you bring into it and whatnot. 40% is the actual skill set. When you very first began, like obviously you purchase kind of a path to get into high ticket sales. Right at those beginnings, did you have a bit of an inkling on, oh, I could be pretty good at this? Like, was it what dropped the hammer for you? Because I'm just imagining if someone was to listen to it, again, it's a side gig and you don't go e-com drop shipping, you go, I'm going to go high ticket sales. If you were a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks in it for someone, what makes them go, "Oh, no, I could do this," versus, "Actually, that's not for me."
Honestly, it's so interesting because when I first started taking calls, I didn't even know it was a sales call,
Mm.
and I had no structure, no strategy. I was literally just trying to be this person's friend
Mm.
and telling them, "Oh, and we've got this service that's like $3,000. Like,
Yep.
do you wanna do it?" So I had no structure, and honestly, for like the first 2 months, it was like that.
Mm.
And then I started looking at other guys on the team, and I was like, "Okay, why are they getting sales? What are they doing?" And
Mm.
like, "Oh, like I follow this script. I learned from this guy. This is some sales training you can watch." And I was like, "Oh, okay, sweet." Um, but for someone that's into it new, I mean, I had mentors straight away, but not direct sales mentors for a good 4 or 5 months.
Mm.
So I think just it doesn't even have to be like a mentorship or a community. I mean, I'm biased, I run one, of course, I think that's the best thing to do. But if you can't or you don't for whatever reason, just picking someone online and you can honestly just watch half their free shit
Mm.
on YouTube and you'll learn 80% of it.
Mm.
Um but how will someone know whether they're cut out for it? I mean, I think anyone can be cut out for it, but they have to choose to be because I definitely did not start off good at sales.
Mm.
Like, I am probably one of the best examples of
Yep.
like not having any base and having to build it from
Give me
scratch.
an example. So, because and again, the reason we call the podcast "Mere Mortals," right? And it's often when I have a conversation with people either who've made it, who are doing the things that they care about, or they're not. I, more and more as I get older too, I want to like I care more about what they did at the beginning, that initial traction, the 0 to 1 or 0 to 5, as opposed to the 80 to 85% type of improvement, right? So, as an example, what did beginning and failing look like for you in high ticket sales to give the kind of the reality of
Yeah.
people on this is what it's like?
So the beginning and failing was jumping on as many calls as I could
Mm.
with no agenda for the call, but just trying to speak to more people. So that was the start.
Yep.
And then failing through that volume and then picking up on what was working and what wasn't after I got my first few sales
Mm.
and then just doubling down on that.
Mm.
So I noticed, for example, when I didn't have the strategy, but when I was doing my pitch, if I spoke with certainty and I spoke with conviction, when I really believed in it,
Mm.
that tended to get me more signups than if I was very laid back and tired in my pitch.
Sure.
So
Yep.
it's like, sweet, okay, certainty in the pitch. I've got to do that. Um, so I just doubled down on what worked. Um,
We're gonna bounce around a couple of topics here as well. So keep on track with me, anyone who's listening into this. But one of the things that comes straight to mind as well is, and again, this is not just a male thing. You've got female closer. You've been on conversations as well with she does this.
yeah,
What's yeah, Brooke. Yep, correct. So, but the energy and the intent. I just want to kind of like hone on this because specifically for young men, often, and I saw this myself when I was younger. You could have the skill set, as you say, but if 60% of it is the energy, you might and the thing that pops up into my mind, but I'll go deeper than it is, okay, let's say it's a sale for solar panels or something else, right? And you might not care about the product, but how you come across is incredibly important. But underlying that, you kind of have to be the man that requires that to be. And that means disciplined and motivated and energized in all the other manners of life. At that point, when you began that journey to high ticket sales, were you that man that you needed to be for that energy? And at what point did you kind of did I guess my question is, does it actually matter that that's actually the more important things and that you find the conversations with the young men? Or do you begin with the skill set and specifics of, I care about the product, understand the person, and that's what leads to that journey? Like where do you tackle first, or what do you see as most important?
you really need both. And I know it's not like a clear answer, but the reason you need both is you could be like super congruent, like the best discipline, all that. But if you have absolutely no idea how you're running the calls,
Mm.
I've seen people flop
Yep.
from that. You could also be like the best skill in the world, but just like not believe in yourself and not have any conviction or any congruency. So
Mm.
that can also mess you up. But in the beginning, the 80/20 is like have conviction in yourself at the very least. Even if you don't care about solar or what you're selling,
Mhm.
at the very least have conviction in yourself and where you're going and your goals. Because even though I didn't have skill when I was young, I was convicted that I wanted to make money online and I wanted to like just do well from it.
Yep.
And I just had enough conviction in myself. That was the starting piece for that. And then with the sales skills, it's not just about like what you're saying and the scripts, but it's more so like the mindset behind it. So when you say things like intent, it's like showing up on the call as, okay, can I help this person? Do they actually need what I'm selling? Um, who has the problem here,
Mm.
so that you don't come from a place of neediness and you're not attached to the sale. So just looking at things that way.
Yeah.
So
So from looking into the Orlando media profiles and information that started to come up, I saw obviously other people who do sales and the way they do tactics. Now, you have a profile, which is the chill closer, and I'll have to say, you are like the chillest closer, it seems, when you have these conversations, which is kind of like your own niche and specific thing, which is kind of awesome to see that. Is that a particular skill set that you try to teach people, or is it just a default of your own nature that you try to kind of would suggest to other young individuals or individuals doing it or any type of role to kind of express, have your more natural side come out to do those sort of sales or conversations?
what you said at the end is what I teach. It's
Mm.
your natural side. So that's my natural side. I
Mm.
find I do the best when I'm objection handling and I start to get pissed off.
Mm.
If I smile and then I just like become more relaxed, it always does better for me.
Yep.
So that works for me and my personality
Mm.
because I'm overall a pretty happy guy. I like to
Yep.
smile. It matches with me. But I have a student, Anton, who will like nail the hammer on
Mm.
some guys when they need it. And he's a lot more direct and cutthroat, even though I trained him in tactics and overall the structure of the call and things like that. But his personality is more direct.
Mm.
So it's matching the tactics with your personality. That's what I teach.
Sure.
Because for some guys, I could teach them to smile in objections
Mhm.
when it just won't land. For others, I could say, hey, you need to be harsh here. And they just won't be able to do it.
Correct. And so you've mentioned sort of a structure, and I know people probably would be interested to hear that. Closed, I think is probably the correct one, which is connect, learn, overview, solution, exhaust, and deliver. The piece I want to just call out because I don't need you to disclose all of it, but solution, there was like a line saying, paint their heaven, right? So obviously a structure helps. I picked that solution as a paint the heaven because at least to me, I was like, oh, that seems to be maybe going to be the hardest bit to kind of get someone to understand of painting that heaven. Is solution, if you can, point out that that might be one of in that particular structure the hardest thing to teach people or for people to get, or have you seen personally other um, lines in this particular structure where you see people actually failing when they do those interactions?
I actually don't think so. I think that's one of the easier
Okay.
ones.
Yeah.
I think the hardest one is overview. I think solution is easier because it's really just taking their goal and making it more real. So it's like, cool, you want to make 10K per month. What does that allow you to do that you can't right now?
Mm.
What's different about that life? When you become that person, what would that do for you personally? Like, I think that's an easier conversation to have.
Mhm.
I think where people struggle is the overview, which is really where you're preventing most objections. So when you go into things like, why not do it by yourself? Have you looked at getting help with this? Oh, you did. Okay, why didn't you sign up with that company?
Mm.
Why haven't you fixed this in the past? People struggle to go deep there.
Mm.
That's what I'm finding. And
Yeah.
I think that's one of the most important parts of the call.
Okay, so the actual overview itself. So break it down a little bit more. When you say it's the overviewing what the individual who's coming in to do the buy is more so understanding the reasoning as to why they're doing that or why they haven't done it before. Like
Yeah.
what in that do people fail in? What do they not ask?
Yeah, the overview is essentially understanding how does this person make decisions? Because how they've made decisions has led them to where they are today. And so if you want them to do things differently or get a different result, you have to help them realize that they have to change that.
Mm.
So the overview is like their buying patterns, their psychology, how they think. I think people struggle in that part because they might ask the first question that's on the script. For example, why not do this by yourself?
Mm.
And they'll say, oh, I've tried it, it didn't work, so now I need help. And most people will move on. But the gold is following up in that and being like, okay, cool. So what's different now? Like what's shifted? Like what made you realize that you can't do it by yourself? Why not keep trying to do it by yourself?
Mm.
And like the follow-up questions.
Yep.
That's where the gold is.
The so from a if you specifically to high ticket sales, I won't even ask you around, what the difference is to low ticket sales. What I want to know more is you're a successful high ticket sales individual and you're teaching a lot of others. We'll talk about closers cult in a moment as well. But when you now are someone who's done a ton load of them, $6+ million worth of actual sales as well, what at the very edge or the extreme are the learnings and the little tips and tricks and of the individuals who are quite good or who have done a lot that you start to notice things that you would not teach the individuals who just begin, right? Because if you just begin, cool, understand your processes, your intention, the environment. What are the little 1%, if you will, that you apply now to yourself that you really wouldn't give to Anton back in as he began, but you give him now as going from the, really, really good to just like top there is.
Sure.
What are those little changes? And one of the things, because one of the ones that I noted, if you for some time to think about it as well, was kind of the buyer's remorse was one tactic I know you talked about before, where it's sort of like, after the individuals finish the sale, kind of hitting them with that, oh, by the way, you're gonna get some buyer's remorse tomorrow. That's just normal. Just be aware of it so that you don't get person started coming back on the sale. What's something like that where it's just a little bit, the extra delta that's different that just people at a beginning point just don't see.
Yeah. Like a super specific one, that you have to be really careful how you do it.
Mm.
If people catch you doing it, you're cooked. Is people call it labeling. There's a bunch of different terms, but labeling overall is what it is, which is basically positive reinforcement on behaviors that you want people to continue with. So, an easy example that most people use is, let's say, the do it yourself question. Why not do this by yourself? Oh, because I know getting a mentor is better. Oh, why do you feel like getting a mentor is better? Because of XYZ reason. Okay, cool. A label would look something like, it's cool that you think that way because, like, you'd be surprised. I speak to a lot of guys that they've got this ego. They know they need help, but they don't put their hand up and ask for it.
Mm.
And like those guys in life, like, where do they end up? Well, yeah, they end up stuck. And like, have you always been this type of guy or is that more recent? No, I've always been that type of guy.
Mm.
Okay, so what did I do there? He said he wants to get help, why he wants to get help, and why he's that guy. So at the end of the call, there's like no freaking way he's going to be like, yeah, I want to do this by myself.
Mm.
Because he's set an identity for himself and he's agreed with that. And we've painted the identity that we don't want him to have as like the villain almost.
Mm.
And it's me and him against that villain.
Yep.
Now, you can do this in so many parts of the call. That's like one of the most common ones people do it with. But you could even do it if someone says things that are in line with them taking responsibility for their life and not putting blame on external factors. Like if someone says something that, gives the impression that their results are in their control, you would positively reinforce that to possibly prevent a partner objection or a wife objection.
Mm.
Because if they're doing the program, sometimes people might externalize the responsibility to someone else, and that's why they don't make a decision. But if you can reinforce the behavior earlier on, that everything comes down to them and it's their choice, again, you can prevent these objections.
Mm.
So that's like a 1%er, but I
Yeah.
don't teach that to beginners.
Yeah. That and the reason it interests me is, again, going to that end is there are things that are worth knowing and people could hear about that you should be aware. Don't worry about that. There's like fundamentals which will get you, 6 out of 10, ins of your calls. But those are the ones where you're doing high ticket sales or whatever. You need to get that extra one over. There's those things that you actually do. And again, that's why people go to individuals who are really experienced, like yourself, to go and understand, right, I'm a beginner and you need to go from beginner to intermediate to advanced. There's proven paths that people have taken like yourself to get there. And that's where people seek that help.
Yeah.
So close was cold, right? I think as I understand is you had an idea of doing something like that. You reached out to basically 10 people who seemed like they were keen for it. 9 of them said, piss off, I'm not going to do it. One of them was like, cool, Anton. So how in that moment, when you only got 1 out of the 10 that you went requested, did that kind of make you go like, man, it was kind of embarrassing? Like, was there embarrassment? Was there almost like a level of ego of like, oh man, that should have been a bit more? How did you, because the important thing is, it's obviously grown from there. What helped you to make sure that it wasn't just the one and done type of work when you started Closes Cold?
Well, it's funny because when that happened, the first trigger in my mind is, oh, the idea's not bad. I just don't have enough people who know me. It kind of goes back to the first thing for me.
Yep.
And I just thought in that moment, oh, I need to build my brand.
Sure.
Because I had like 1,500 followers at the time.
Mhm.
And a few weeks after that, I started going ham with content.
Yep.
And it's been the same since. So that's what it triggered for me. But no, it grew from there just unexpectedly. I mean, I started Closes Cold off. It was meant to be a subscription model
Mhm.
to fund events because I always wanted to do these retreats where I get closers together and I kind of bring a community of guys that are in a similar space together in real life,
Mm.
not just on Zoom. So that's the idea for it. But then because I only had Anton,
Mm.
it's like, cool, we're not gonna just do an event, you and me, with like the money you're paying. So I just jumped on Zoom with him and I said, look, this is the reality. Like, I'm more than happy to give you your money back. I thought more people would sign up. But is there anything else I can help with?
Mhm.
And he was like, no, like, I like the idea. Like, more people will join. It's cool. Um, right now I'm an appointment setter. I want to become a closer in the next 12 months. So maybe some help there. And I said, why do you want to be a closer in the next 12 months?
Mhm.
Like, why not in the next month or 2 months? And we just started working together on that.
Mm.
4 months later, he went from like 2K a month to 10K a month as a closer. And throughout that process, he referred me a ton of people. Like, within the first 2 weeks, he referred me 5 other New Zealanders.
Mm.
And then they referred people, and just word of mouth purely got us to about 30 people.
Yep.
And then it developed.
Kind of from there. And again, the very impressive thing that you said there that I think people sometimes miss is when you grow things, and even as someone who's got like a giant following, and you go down the path of paid ads or just relying on who you are, that will get you some of the way. But the word of mouth of you doing successful work with someone and then that, helping them out genuinely to get to their outcome that you need, again, kind of mirrors you doing a sales call and helping them achieve what they need, right? Even though not all of them will achieve it, a high percentage will, and it comes kind of down to the energy that you provide with them. Again, if you do that how you did with Anton, then it kind of expands from there. So it doesn't sound like from that call there was ever a point that you're like, okay, no, it's not going to work. It's just need to scale and it needs to get the right word of mouth. At what number or point in closest call did you kind of go, oh man, this is becoming like something. Like this is now growing to a point that I need somebody else, and I need to really properly think about the brand that I'm growing. Was there a point like that
Yeah.
kind of fell for you?
There was. We got to 30 members, and it was pretty much this time last year, exactly 12 months ago almost. And it was a subscription model, so it was about $150 a month
Yep.
for people to join. It was very low barrier to entry, considering the sales space,
Mm.
which is normally high ticket coaching they're selling. So at that point, I was talking to a friend, and he just said to me, he said, "Why are you charging so cheap? Like,
Mm.
you're getting people results, you've got people joining. Why not make it high ticket?" And at the time, I was selling high ticket with Zach Perner, so I was building his business as well as mine. And he's like, "You're already doing it. It's for someone else. Just do it for
Focus on
yourself."
yourself.
I was like, "Yeah, I don't know why I haven't been."
Mm.
I think in the beginning, I maybe had imposter syndrome. I didn't know if I had much value,
Sure.
but to go from one person to 30, it was just a clear result of, okay, there must be something people like. So I switched it to high ticket in November. So I went from $150 a month to 5K, and that was for 12 months at the time, and it's gone up since then. But
Yep.
that moment where then every client I signed up was 5K, I was like, oh, okay, this is an actual business.
Mm.
And so then I went from 2 calls a week to 4 calls a week, and I added more modules. And November last year, I was in Bangkok, and I remember for about a month and a half, right up until Christmas, and like the day before Christmas, I flew back to Australia. But up until then, from 6 a.m. till 10 p.m. every single night, I did not do anything except train Muay Thai and work at the hotel. And I ordered my food in. Like,
Yeah.
I did not go outside. I had black coffee and Zins
Mhm.
until like 6 p.m.
Yep.
and I'd eat dinner.
Mhm.
And that's the most locked in I've ever been. And I'm so grateful that I did that, because we dropped from about 30 members to 10 with the price increase.
Sure.
But
Yep.
then within the first month, we built it back up to 20. And then we scaled from there over the next few months. And now we're at 70 active members.
Which is awesome, right? And I want. I often get the pleasure of speaking to people at an early enough point for whatever reason, in that I shit you not that whatever 5 years from now, that might be a memory that just gets degraded into the wind, and someone would be like, "Oh man, Orlando's freaking got like 500 people in this particular cult, and they've got this other thing, and it's going really well," and you forget that there's a whole lot of hard work that goes behind them, right? That goes in the days where you're just training and just making it happen and growing the thing. Um, in the growth aspect of it, so I was wondering, operationally, where do you run your modules as well? What platform are you using at the moment? School. So you're going and using School. Um, do you find with like say with School, and I haven't used School before, but I know with Stan, it's similar, obviously scales up and growth. Where you are right now, what is if you want to continue scaling, which sounds like you do, what's the next unlock that you're starting to see within for yourself or the business that you're growing? What is it? What is the one or two things you're like, that's where the investment really lies to unlock the next growth level to it?
Well, now it's ads.
Yep.
So we ran ads for the first time in June. We're in November now, so a few months ago. We ran it for a month and that did well. But I was paying an agency to do it and I was paying 5 grand a month to them plus the ad spend. I just went, you know what? I'm just going to do it organically like I was.
Yep.
And I went back to organic and pretty much just built it off referrals and my content, Instagram and YouTube. But this month we've started running ads where I've properly recorded ads that are only for ads, only made for ads, and we've got all the systems dialed in for it now.
Yep.
Because the fulfillment is we could double the amount of people we have, and I don't think we'd lose quality. We've got we've got almost 2 coaching calls a day. All the modules is there. People can crush it if they
Yep.
do the work. So now we're running ads. So that's the next unlock.
Yeah, okay. And you're doing it now yourself? Or you're still going to an agency to do them?
No, so I'm blessed because I have a amazing network of friends. So I've got 2 friends that have scaled multiple other brands and they're doing it completely free for me.
Fuck, that's awesome.
Charging me a cent.
Yeah.
The only thing for them, because I asked them,
Mm.
because it's like too good to be true.
Yep.
I was like, bro, why are you doing this? A friend of mine, he just sold his company for like 10 mil. He's my age. He's 24. And he's basically like, bro, I'm bored. And honestly, like, I really like you. And long term, I want to do business with you in the future.
Yep.
So I want to build goodwill with you. I was like, okay, amazing. Let's do it.
One of the kind of like the sayings that I always have, or at least been built up, is you want to play long-term games with long-term people, right? And I think people who have done the thing that they wanted to do, achieved it, made a sale, succeeded in achieving something and whatnot, they do see the value in playing those long-term games with people who are doing it for the long term. The way that you've been talking about it at the moment doesn't scream to me like how you're building this up to a state so you can sell the particular company, right? That doesn't sound like what you're doing. And again, there's benefits to that, but you would grow that in a very different way than how you are doing it now. So for the individuals who paint a picture, what is Closer's cult today, if you had to like summarize it, and where does the next path of growth come? Is it just more people doing the same thing? Is it new ventures down different paths? What does that growth look like so that it maybe achieves and fulfills what you're looking to do?
Yeah. So it's an overall ecosystem that helps people either transition into remote sales and hit their first 10K months or go from 10 to 20 to 30. My top guy did $60,000 in commissions, which is crazy.
That's crazy. Those are crazy. We're talking like, you know, you're thinking, because sometimes if you don't know the space, you go, 60K. So you sold like 60K worth. No. It's commissions to the individual. And these are generally you're pretty young guys or young girls. They're getting 60K coming through in a month. That's huge.
Yeah.
That's like for nothing to see that, people. Yeah.
Yeah, it's insane. So all of that is built out, but this is something I struggle with in growing the size because I had this belief. I was like, surely it being intimate is better because they get more attention and more time from me. But what I realized is as the community's grown, the reason I call it an ecosystem is because all of the people within it are then helping each other. And we've almost got like mini coaches in different departments where it's like, hey, they've been in the program for a year. This guy's crushing it. He's on a good offer. And then he's like, hey, who else in Closer's Cult can I refer to this business? So the bigger we get, the bigger the ecosystem, it helps everyone win because they can learn off me, obviously, but they can also learn off each other, all the students, and they can help each other win.
And like you said, right, you might be drawn into it because of Orlando, and Orlando helps you go from 0 to 10, 10 to 20. But at the same time, then you're going to have someone who's doing 60K commissions, you know, per month. And that's not every month, but perhaps, but it's like they go into those levels and you go, oh shit, I can go and talk to X individual and, you know, see how they've done it. And again, is it a similar offer? Is it a similar connection? And it screams to me, it's, as you said, it's not who you know, it's who knows you. And part of that group, as all groups and, you know, offer, it's connection. It's network, it's understanding. And it's almost, I've seen this of, you know, Simon Beard.
Yes.
So he's doing like Creator Army and he's putting together this kind of information of like, hey, I'll put my stamp on saying you're a good creator and you can do something like that. It's almost to that extent that I feel like from a, you know, Closer's Cult, it's like, oh, if you're putting someone forward and they're in Closer's Cult, a business or an individual who's wanting to hire them, it's like, oh, that's kind of like got a bit of a stamp, a bit of quality that comes behind it, as opposed to just any old random person coming through, just like you'd have in the days gone, university, right? If you went to Harvard or you went to whatever school, it's like, oh, they've been vetted. This is like your next evolution of being vetted. It's just um, part of like becoming known. And then I think it screamed out to me, that's why you are now on the path of also, becoming known, doing more documentation of what you're doing to help people understand who you are and then drawing them into that kind of sphere as well.
And one thing that we're doing very differently to a lot of other people in a similar space is one thing companies are really struggling with at the moment is finding good sales talent.
Mm.
There's a lot of sales people, but a lot of them have been set the wrong expectations. They come in thinking they can do 2 hours a day in Bali, sipping a coconut. Like they come in with the wrong expectations.
Yep.
So there's a lot of shit at the bottom,
Mm.
but the companies are struggling to find good salespeople. So what I do is I not only train the guys before they even go into the company, so they've got a good base level. I set the right expectations, and I don't charge the business owner anything. Like, no. A lot of people like me would charge a $5,000 placement fee. They'll charge a, $5,000 once the rep performs, certain fee based on performance. I don't charge anything because my intention is to make the deal so no-brainer for the business owners to come to me to source their pool of talent so that all my guys can win.
For sure. Yeah.
Because I know that them winning is going to help me win as well. And I'm solely focused on the closers doing well.
The value of goodwill and quality that you're providing is over the top of the immediacy payment that you get. You're a young guy, right? You're making great money now. You're traveling the world. Again, people can go check out the vlogs of Ghana, the US, and going to events. But you're reinvesting and spending a lot of money on going to see individuals. So again, I think I noted a couple of Daniel Allen, Will Brown's sort of mastermind that you went to as well. So you in turn spend a lot of money, and kind of going in with a question I was going to ask is, how do you continue to upvalue yourself, make sure that you're becoming the right man that you're wanting to be? Is it through those paths? Is there other things that you're approaching? What are the things that you are learning in these gatherings that you wouldn't be really able to get in any other way?
Yeah. So where I'm at right now is I started off investing into mentorships, courses, programs. That got me majority of my results. Now what I'm finding is I don't get as much value from them. So what I'm really trying to do now more of is networks and certain masterminds. So a 1 or a 2 day mastermind that's more intense. I pay a good amount of money, but I can talk directly to the people I want to learn from and ask some specific questions for me. I get a lot of value from that. Also from the people that go to those events.
Sure.
So Daniel Allen's mastermind connected with multiple people that I'm still in touch with today that have helped me grow the business quite a lot and are really helping me with the content. So there's that. And I'm also a big believer in paid networks. So I've joined in the last 12 months, 3 paid communities where the whole value is the community and the events they do. There's no course, there's no coaching. It's just the people that are in there.
Sure.
And the reason for that is I know that the connections that I make or the people I can meet up with, I can learn directly from them, which you can't necessarily learn from a course. I like to just speak to the source. So that's my strategy right now. And in terms of what I've learned, I mean, pretty much everything has come from conversations with people. Like I just will never stop talking business to new people that I meet.
Yep.
Because they could say something in a completely different sphere and I can take that and apply it to my business. So, at Daniel's, I obviously learned a lot about personal branding. We really went hard on that and like the associations you have. Same with Will Brown's. Will's was how to structure the coaching in a way that's scalable, because Will does a lot of one-on-one work with clients, not as much group, but he's doing insane numbers and he's scaled that way big. So he's done that in a way that doesn't continue to overwork him, but he can still scale the numbers. So learned a lot from him there. And like I said, from Daniel, a lot on personal branding and content. Each format that we're going for.
What would be if you had to throw it out there, is there a mastermind you have your mindset set on, or something in the future that you're like, that's even like the next level that I really want to get myself into?
Yeah, I think for me, it's about time I do something with Hormozy. Like,
Absolutely. That's the one I was kind of in mind. Yep.
yeah, he's just always right. And I'm like, I've got to, because I haven't spent $1 with him yet.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I just haven't bought any. I haven't even bought his book.
Mm.
I haven't bought any of his stuff. But whenever I listen to him on a podcast or his YouTube or his streams he's been doing recently, was on the plane, I watched a 3-hour stream he did, and I was picking up things constantly.
Mm.
So I don't know how I haven't spent money with him yet.
Yeah. Well, I could imagine. Yeah, the next thing you even next time I talk to you, it's going to be like, I went to Vegas, had the competition with Mosey. We're partnering up. We're doing some stuff. Okay. So if you had to say, what are the well, put it two ways to you. One, is there then individuals that then you look up to that you go, I want to emulate that, or do you just think about it more individualistic and like, I want to be this type of individual, man, guy, character? What drives you? Are you looking to emulate an individual and using that as leverage to where you're wanting to get to in life and the business journey? Or do you have a very set path on, no, this is what I want to craft my future to look like, and this is sort of what it looks like?
It's more the latter. It's more me crafting my future, and I try to take the best pieces from everyone.
Mm.
For example, Hormozy is like obviously insane at business.
Mm.
But as a personal life, I don't mind how he lives, but that's not me. I would prefer to have more time that's not just on the business, as much as I love business. So I'll take certain things from him, but I might take certain things from other people that I look up to in certain traits. But overall, the direction, I'm pretty clear on where I'm going, and now it's just fulfilling that potential. It's like obviously building Closer's Cult, building the personal brand, and really for me, one of the most important things is building a community. When I go to places like the Gold Coast and we've got 150 other sales guys that are all there to better themselves, they're all like mid to low 20s pretty much
Mm.
for the most part. That's really important to me. Going to the Gold Coast and doing a meetup and just getting 20 closers together and building that community. Or, when I'm in Slovenia and I saw my student, next time I'm there, I want to be able to have a meetup, even if it's only 4 fucking people. But it's like everywhere I go, I want to build a community and build a ecosystem as well.
Yeah, and I often have I find that, and you use the word congruent, and I don't know if we're talking about it in the podcast, but you've said it before when we're off air. That when I talk to other individuals in my network who are, by all measures of success, doing really well, often it's because they're congruent in the lineup of what they want to do, but they're like really genuine and adding value to other humans, other individuals, and it could be as crude as saying it's so that they can make more money by doing this particular skill set really well. But if that's what you really care about and empowering them, I'm sure you've seen, of course, Anton and all the other guys who go, hey, I was here and now I'm making good money and I can travel or I've got flexibility to choose. That's really cool. And when you got someone genuinely coming to you and saying, thanks, man, that's really helped. I'm sure that's like ticking the box.
Yeah, and I'm the first person to say I did not start the business with the intention to just help people.
Mm.
Like it started off as, hey, maybe I can build this community. I can fund these events, which will be fun, and I can make some extra cash off it.
Mm.
That was the intention when I started off. And that's still been the intention, is to make money from the business. And also now to add value to people. After seeing the results, I'm like, why can't I make money and help people? Like it's okay to have both.
Sure.
And I think a limiting mindset I know I used to have, and I see in a lot of people, is they'll have all these negative associations with making more money. They think that if they make more money, they'll be greedy. They think it's taking away from other people. They think it's selfish. And it's like, of course you're not going to make more money if you believe those things.
Mm.
But I truly believe, yes, I do this business to make money. And it also helps a shit ton of people. And it builds community, which overall helps the world be better.
Mm.
So both can be true.
Mm. I'm gonna end it with this as part of the conversation. Few things. One, you seem to be a bit of a magician with some cards. I've seen this when you're having a conversation with girls out in the streets, and again, you can go check out the vlogs. But part of that probably the skill sets that you've gathered as being a sales individual in high ticket sales and talking to people is also being able to talk to the opposite sex and be able to progress that. But everything's a phase of life. Right now, you're traveling. We didn't even touch on it, but when you were younger, you were a bit of a gypsy, basically traveling all different places. Thanks to your mum sort of dragging you around different places in primary school. But you seem to be comfortable in traveling and going to different places, but that's a phase of life. Is there a specific mindset for you that you're like, I am not on the lookout for another relationship? Again, when I met you, come off a relationship. Are you in a phase of your life where you go, my focus and energy is invested in my business and my personal life and my growth, and it is not in a relationship? Or is it something that you are progressing? And the reason I ask that, and I want to be clear, is sometimes from people, especially if you're younger, it's you cannot do everything. And maybe there are people who manage it, right? But it's not often the case. Do you put in the energy right now to find a significant other? Or it's just it's not that part of your life right now?
I Put in effort to have interactions with women
Mm.
because I think it's an important part. So as busy as I am with the business,
Mm.
I will still go out there,
Yep.
whether it's just magic or talk to girls or be around feminine energy,
Mm.
because I genuinely think that's important for guys. If you're just constantly with guys
Mm.
and you're never surrounded by girls, you're not talk to them, you don't, get their perspectives on things, it can be very like narrow-minded.
Mhm.
So I definitely put effort into that. Do I put effort right now into finding my lifelong partner? No, it's just not the phase I'm in.
Mm.
The phase I'm more so in really is life experience. Like
Mhm.
I just want to experience a lot of life right now. Hence the travel. There's so many
Yep.
places I want to go, so many people I want to meet. And I mean, people call it like life maxing.
You gotta.
I just want to life
You
max.
have to, man. Again, sorry. I know this now, getting a little bit older, right? And it's like, I am so glad I did a lot of live maxing to, even to know things like, hey, Miami is not as cracked up as it is to be, right?
Yeah.
Going to Miami is freaking expensive, all the sushi. Fuck that. Like, I don't care. I don't care. I like Nashville and I like Minnesota, right? I like these other places. But you also find out who you are as a human as well when you travel and you do experiences. It's good to hear that, right? Because everything is phase of life. And probably one part that we talked a lot about sales, but it's good to see of someone who is successfully doing something. It's like you're calling out also what you're not doing, right? Which is not looking for a significant other. It might ensue based on what you're doing, but it isn't like you're realistically saying, "Hey, I'm also gonna, find that right now." It's not the case. Um, what's the ultimate aim you think right now? And let's talk like 20 years, but 5 years in the future. Where do you see the business? Where do you see yourself? What do you see yourself doing that gives you the most amazing life, if you will? Describe it in a day or describe it in general in this. What does that look like?
Honestly, day to day, I am just so happy and in line with what I'm doing. Like, I
Mm,
wouldn't change anything about how I'm living day to day.
mm,
In terms of the business and where I want to be, I definitely want Orlando Santucci and the Chill Closer or that brand to be more well known. That's an important thing for me. Is I want to come up in more conversations of, oh, you want to learn sales? Like Orlando's really good at that. Oh, we've got this event. We need someone to teach sales. Orlando would be great for that.
yep.
I want more of those opportunities. And I want to be doing more events and have like accessibility to do events like really anywhere. I mean, like I said, I was in Slovenia, which is a
Mm,
random place because I have a student there. But that's kind of like a benchmark for me is what crazy places can I go to and still bring people together that are in sales?
mm,
Because if I could be in a place like, I don't know, freaking Morocco or something,
mm.
and it's like you can just pull together like 20 other sales guys and do an event there, like that would just be sick to me.
Yeah, that and it coincides with like a bit of travel, a bit of exploration, and you're still bringing the community wherever you go. Like that, that's pretty impressive as well. So it's sort of sounds like it's building that community, it's growing it, and again, you're not saying specifically, although ensues from that is great, more money that flows through, and then usually with those is if you're giving enough value and you're building the community and you get a lot more money coming through, you can then put that back into the system and
Yeah.
actually make it even funner, bring in more people. I'll leave it there for now, Orlando. Of course, if people want to catch up with you or see more, and especially see all the content that's about to come out and the vlogs and everything else, which channel, where do we want to direct people to?
The main one I would say if you just found out about me is Orlando.Santucci on
Mhm.
Instagram or YouTube if you prefer longer format. It's just my name, Orlando Santucci, two C's.
Cool. That's going to be the main stuff. Appreciate it, man. Thanks for taking the time.
Yep.
Hope everyone enjoyed. Thank you.
Thank you.